Bryant. Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! Oh, he banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
Good morning, Syndicate members. What is happening, man?
Oh,
it is a beautiful day. It's Wednesday. It's 9 a.m. That's right. We're live from Austin, Texas, right here at Syndicate headquarters in our new little studio that we got working for you. We're working on some new frames. We're having some fun. We are getting this studio running just for you guys, and we're super happy about it. I hope you like it.
Absolutely.
And we would like some feedback because we're not experts at this, and we want your help. So, hey, is it too bright? Is it too dark? Is it to this? Is it to that? What's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the new show. Thanks for coming. My name's Tony Merwin. This is the Jolly Ginger Giant himself.
that introduction
Joe
in these
Kampert.
headsets is just so much louder than what I was expecting.
You
But I
have
was
a
like,
volume knob
I
over
know,
here,
but
bro.
I was like, you know what? I feel
It's
like
right here.
I feel like I'm in
You're
the
number
game.
3. Welcome to the party, number 3.
I was
Great
just
to
going
have you.
through it. What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday to the Insurance Syndicate. Hey, real quick, as I'm looking at the comments, make sure and hit the link up in the description of the show to let StreamYard view your Facebook comments just so that we can see you. We can give you a shout out. I know Lily's dropping that link within the comments as well, which leads me to giving a shout out to, as you can see here on the overlay of the show, our sponsor for Winning on Wednesday, Viva Virtual Solutions. It is where obviously Lily has been sourced from. And then I was talking to her backstage. I said, Lily, I think you're kind of like a producer of an official studio. So shout out to Lily, and then shout out to really Jenny, Elisa, Sandra, and all of our other virtual assistants that we have through Viva. And shout out to Rob Lopez, man. I really appreciate you. You guys do an amazing job. And really a lot of this wouldn't be possible without, again, shout out to Lily getting all this stuff done for us behind the scenes.
Rob's been on the show.
Rob's
been on Winning on Wednesday not
Yeah.
too long ago, maybe a couple of months. Great show.
Yeah.
A lot of insight on using VAs. And if you're not using VAs, you should heavily consider it. It's one of the most affordable ways to scale your business, especially the service side. I use 3. We got a small shop, but we're heavy producers, and we got 3 VAs helping us out. So definitely check out Viva. Great group. What do we got going on today, brother?
Well, before we get into it, we do have a pretty cool show. Y'all, this was something I did my morning training on Monday with my team. Actually, no, this was this past Friday, excuse me. And you're going to be like, wait, what? Like, this is what you guys trained on? But there is, I think, a lot of lessons that I took away from it. And we won't watch the whole video or anything, but we'll get into that here in a second, and really just talk about preparing for that one audition, right? And so get ready for an amazing show. But before we get into that, Mr. Merwin, what's your weekly win?
Dude, my weekly win is simple, and I actually announced it yesterday. Super excited. I am starting up Kung Fu training again, Wing Chun training. I've trained in about 4 different Kung Fu disciplines for about 10 years. You know that. We've talked about it. And I've been kind of lackadaisical about my training, but I'm getting excited. Some of you know I actually have a goal for my 50th year birthday. I'm 49. I just turned 49 just a few weeks ago. My 50th year birthday, I want to fight in a Sanda match. The problem is having to find a tournament facility that will allow a 50-year-old to fight in a Sanda match, because it is pretty much full contact, although there's a lot of pads. So I would like to do that, and I've been training for it. So I've been going through some fitness. Obviously, some of you guys are following me out there. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in and following. We're on day 37 today. We're right at the half-day point of our 75-day run. And yeah, I'm going back to a Muay Yacht school, Kung Fu lineage. Super excited about it. Talked to the teacher yesterday, got his blessing. I'm actually going in tonight, 7 o'clock, first training.
Right on.
Dude, I'm ready to roll.
Let's go, dude. I love that. Yeah, kudos to you. And Grace for doing the fitness thing. I know you guys are getting up after it. I'm doing something similar, and also I'm like a quarter of the way through on mine, I think. A little bit over. Well, no, I'm a little bit over a quarter of a way through the 100
You're
days.
a third way through.
But I'd say my weekly win. I guess I think I'm just in the mood of shouting people out. But my weekly win, look, he's going to be all pissed off that I even bring him up. But Mr. Todd Wilson, I know you're probably watching this. Todd is on my internal sales team, and the guy has just been on a hot streak really for the past week. And I think that's not only his hard work and what he's putting into it, but it's also, I think we're really starting to tap into the culture that we've been able to manifest here in the office, and just seeing everybody kind of rally around that. But again, shout out to Todd. The guy's been like writing policies every single freaking day. Popped off yesterday, came in this morning. First thing he's doing, writing policies, and got more in the hopper. So shout out to Todd. Appreciate you, bro. And really appreciate everybody on the team.
Killing it.
Just getting after it, man. So that's it.
Josh Lippincott even says so. Todd has been killing it, and he has.
Josh is he's in the premium tracker group, so he sees it. We have a little group chat. Which you guys, if you don't have this, you should have this. But we have a little group chat where every time you sell something, you just post it in the premium tracker. And I don't care how big of the premium or how small. I don't care if it's a renter's policy, a life policy, a home whatever it is, or an $80,000 trucking account. Put it in the freaking tracker so that it's not so that we can get eyes on what you're actually selling. It's so that we can celebrate you, right?
Yes.
I think so many people, especially in this industry, just start to cruise, man, and we forget to honestly kind of pat ourselves on the back.
It's also motivational because it gets everybody going. Like, damn, that dude keeps posting that he keeps, it's like ringing the bell. And if you've ever run a sales office where when you make a sale, you ring the bell, right? Or if you hit a certain number of sales, maybe a certain volume of premium. We did this in outside sales. And if you ever made $150 for the day, cash money, you get to come in and ring the bell. And everybody heard you at the end of the night. It's like, oh, that dude made money today because he's a bell ringer. And it's the same kind of concept, right? It's like social proof. So it gets everybody motivated with some greed.
If somebody else's numbers piss you off, then you might have the wrong mindset.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Love it, man. Well, again, shout out to you, Todd. Appreciate you, man. And what's up to the syndicate members? I'm super excited here I think that's also my other win, is finally getting into this studio and coming live to you guys. So I appreciate your time. Appreciate everything that you guys do for this group. And we're going to get right into it. And again, this video. So I'm a sucker for like the America's Got Talent or the Britain's Got Talent. I know some of it can be corny and cliche, but like, I just love seeing it. I think we need more of it in the world where it's like, man, that one audition that literally changes people's lives, and just seeing their reactions and seeing the family and all, like, and you guys know, and if you've been to SWAT, I'm a yellow. Obviously, hell, you can see some of the yellow in our background. We didn't even do that on purpose. But I really got a lot from this video. So I'm going to show a quick snippet for you guys. And let me go here to share my screen.
America's Got Talent always makes me cry. When people get their win, The Voice, all those shows, when people get their breakthrough, I can't help but cry.
And that's kind of what it is. Can you guys see this? Everybody see it?
Get your Kleenex.
I think everybody can see it. I'm going to go ahead and just start it here. So this guy's name, his name is Gamal John. And so I kind of skipped through some of it, and the judges were just kind of, hey, what's up? And the crowd was going a little bit crazy, but he hadn't started, and you could tell the guy was just like, he's just crazy nervous, right? And has a lot of nerves. And they asked him, why he was auditioning. And it was because his 8-year-old son said, hey, you finally have the opportunity. You just got to go for it. Right. And so that's why he's up on stage. But I wanted to play just some of this so you guys can hear it. And then we'll kind of break down all the lessons and everything that I got from it. And again, where I think it really, truly applies to us as insurance agents. Okay.
This is a man's world. This a man's world. Oh, but it would be nothing without a woman or girl. Yeah. So, made the car. Tickets on the road. It made me the train.
Oh, come on.
To carry the heavy load. Oh. Made me the electric light. Take us out the door. Then made me the boat by the water. like no man, y'all. See, this is a man's world. But it would be nothing, yeah, not a woman or girl. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. Go ahead and stop it there. I mean, the talent of that guy, right? And how it comes through on our headphones is a little bit different. We should probably watch that together. But I mean, the guy's just got some freaking pipes. I mean, you guys heard it, right? And I love that picture of him like from behind him when it's just like the whole freaking audience. Man, it's like the whole world,
everybody's starstruck,
is looking at you. And there's so many lessons that I pulled from this. And the first thing that you guys didn't see, well, and actually I'll tell you kind of, I cut it short, but at the end of it, as you guys probably know, you can get the golden buzzer, right? So the golden buzzer is like, that's what gets you past all the battle rounds or whatever and gets you into the final rounds right out the gate. And the judges only have like a limited amount of golden buzzers that they can give out, right? So Gamal comes on, and obviously the crowd goes wild, right? The judges freaking love him. They're like, oh my gosh. And then that first judge with the gray hair on the left, he says, you know what? Screw it. And then just hits the golden buzzer. Well, they'd already used all the golden buzzers, right? So the guy's kind of like, shit. Like, and then, Simon's over there is like, dude, you just like broke the show, right? Like, we're all going to get fired. But I also took a lesson from that, and they ended up giving him the golden buzzer because they said, hey, we did it. So what we give, we can't take back, right? So then this guy, he gets the golden buzzer, all this, right? And I just thought that was really cool. And I want to go back to the beginning, which you guys didn't see. The first thing that the guy said on the left, the judge on the left, he goes, and the guy, you can tell Gamal is just sitting up there and he's all nervous and he's like, oh man, like, like what's going on? And then the crowd like already is starting to cheer. And the first judge, he goes, look, they like you already. Before he had even begun to sing a note, nothing, right? Not even say his name or speak. He already had people rooting for him, right?
Yeah.
And I got a lot from that. But then what it shifted to was, hey, why are you here? And he goes, well, my 8-year-old pushed me to do it, right? It was an opportunity I've wanted for a while, and I'm going for it, right? And I think we have so many times in our life where we have this opportunity in front of us, but we're not prepared. Or it's, you have people in the crowd too. There was another segment that we didn't see, and it's like, I hope he's good, right? And they're like, I hope he's good, before he's even saying, right? So you have the people maybe that are rooting for you, right? But then you also have all these naysayers in the crowd. You haven't even said anything yet. They're already doubting you. They go, well, I hope he's really good, right? Or he's super nervous, or he's uncomfortable, right? How many times do you get uncomfortable before probably or potentially the biggest opportunity that you've ever faced, right?
You should be getting uncomfortable all the time,
right?
Truthfully. I learned this. Actually, it was a quote that Mark Twain said, and it was when I started getting on stages more often. And I obviously learned that I have a lot of nerves, and no matter how often I get on stage and talk to people or public speak or whatever you want to call it, I continue to have nerves no matter how many times I've done it over and over and over. And I saw this quote from Mark Twain that said, there are 2 types of speakers in the world. There are those that get nervous, and there are those that are liars. So everybody gets nerves. That's one of the things that you have to understand. But I think that's a big part of why the people in the audience relate with the gentleman so well. We all know it's the number one fear that everybody has is getting on stage and getting all of those eyeballs. It's why you and I have nerves right now. This is the first time we've done this in this setting. So no matter how many times we've done this podcast, talk to you guys in our different format, like this is a little new to us right now.
I don't think we've ever shot a podcast
find our way
sitting next
around
to
the
each other.
table and shit. So there's nerves happening here. So this is one I talked about this yesterday in Tuesday training. If you guys tuned in to Tuesday training yesterday, you would have heard me talk about this, that nerves are just part of the game, but you have to get over that and get on stage. And when I say get on stage, that doesn't mean you have to all of a sudden get on stage and start speaking in public, like as a group speaker kind of thing. But you need to start speaking in public in regards to getting your phone, shooting video content, promoting your business, promoting your own personal brand. You need to start learning to communicate in those different manners. And you have to just get over those nerves and understand that every time that you put yourself in that position and you grab that phone to shoot content like this, that's going to outreach to the audience that you're trying to target and build a relationship with, you're going to get nerves no matter how many times you do it. especially the more unprepared you are.
Mm.
The more prepared you are, the easier it gets.
Right.
Right. Because you know what you're going to say. You're going to have some notes down and so forth. You have some thought points. And some people are different. Some people like a scripted idea. Right. And again, I talked about this yesterday in my framework. Do you script out your content that you want to deliver, or do you just bullet point it?
Right.
So,
well, and I think that's kind of my second point that I really got from that video was, okay, he's there. All right, I'm taking the leap, right? And I'm getting ready to go. And guys, think about it. It's your first audition. It's your first day on the phones, right? It's your first in-house meeting. It's your first door knock. I mean, you name it, right? It's your first audition. And yeah, you're going to be nervous, right? But guess what? He's there. And sometimes maybe it just took that of an 8-year-old to push you to get there, right? I thought that was so powerful that like an 8-year, like a grown man going all in on an opportunity because of an 8-year-old, right? And I think, and again, I know that's obviously specific to his son,
sure.
But we have people like that in our lives, man, that are pushing us to go all in on this opportunity that we know in insurance, but we have to go through our first audition, right? So he's nervous. David Goggins says it best. If it's uncomfortable, it's probably the right place to be, right? Or the right place to go. So he's like, all right, I'm going all in, right? I got my license. I've passed, right? Like I'm contracted with carriers. I'm freaking going all in on this thing, right? Maybe you quit another job, right? Career change to really buy into this. But what was happening is that even though he had people like, oh, is he going to be good, right? He had the naysayers. Maybe that's friends or family members of yours, people around you that are telling you, I hope he's good, right? Is this insurance thing really going to work out for you, right? He was nervous. He was uncomfortable. But what happened is you don't win the golden buzzer without being prepared and posed. When I saw
poised is the word you're looking for.
Excuse me, prepared and poised. Thank you. You said another word yesterday. I was like, dude, I have no idea what that means. But you get my point.
I have quite the lexicon.
Right?
Go
like
ahead.
He was prepared and poised for what even though it was uncomfortable. And that's, to me, shows so much about agents in our industry. Is I guess like, are you really, like, to your point, are you just hopping on the phone? You don't have a script. You don't know what you're saying. It's like, no, the guy was prepared and poised. He knew the notes that he was going to hit. He knew the falsettos, right? Or whatever that he was singing. And ultimately what that was is that credit was given while being judged, right? When I look back through that, and it's like, okay, they're all judging him, right? Because they're judges. And I feel like we have a lot of judges and critics in our life. Credit was given where it was deserved, right? And it was because he was prepared and poised.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of agents are like, they're being what we'll call judged, which is basically just running their numbers, looking at their numbers. And it's like, yeah, no, dude, you're like, right, X. And it's like, and they're all pissed off, my upline or whatever it is. Like, no, you just weren't prepared. You weren't poised in that house or on the phone, right? Or maybe the poise is, hey, you can go on to the next phone call after getting told to F off.
Yes. And
right?
I'm glad you brought that up, being judged by the numbers, because I was actually talking to your buddy Todd, or your boy Todd, today about this. We were talking about judging by the numbers. He was having a moment where he was judging himself by his daily numbers. And he's like, well, yesterday wasn't maybe my best day. Didn't really close any premium, or I don't know what he said, something to that effect. I don't know if it's talking about yesterday or whatever. But he made a comment and he was judging himself by one singular day. And the dude's been here for 4 months. And I'm like, dude, you've been here too long to be judging yourself day by day. It's like, you need to start looking at your week.
Right.
You need to start looking at your month. Like, look at your numbers on that, and you'll better find your weaknesses through the consistencies and the effort.
Right.
And then you can you can identify maybe the sections of the sales process or the marketing process that you're soft on. So numbers will always tell you the truth. No matter how good of a salesperson you are, the facts are you'll never beat the science.
Right.
And the science says you're going to win some and lose some. And your skill set is going to determine kind of where that metric moves. But the only way you can do that is to properly measure yourself by your numbers.
Well, and it's like how people like buy leads. I saw Victor Gonzalez on this. He's seen this like countless times. They buy 10 leads. They don't sell anything. They're like, fuck this lead generator. Like the generator, right? These suck. And I'm like, well,
this will never work.
You need a sample size.
Yes.
Right. In order to actually judge your numbers, is like,
yes,
you got to have you got to have enough reps and enough dials and enough all those things that go into that. And we see that a lot in our industry.
Here's a question for you in regards to looking at your numbers. As you continue to put on more time and numbers, how far back are you constantly? Like, do you have a running average? Like, I generally look at 90 days. Like, I want to see my running 90-day average So every time there's another month completed, that 90 days just moves to the most recent 90 days.
No,
Just
I'm a monthly guy.
Monthly?
Yeah, I'm a monthly guy. That's and not to say that I'm trying to be better about this. I think I kind of let some of that get away from me. It's
Okay.
funny, anybody that used to work for me in the past, dude, I was a freaking data Nazi, man. Like, I mean, dude, it better be freaking crispy, freaking clean, all your numbers, because I would just run now almost to a fault. I think I would run the numbers so freaking much.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I don't need to be like going that hard, like almost to micromanagement style, right? But again,
Garbage in,
I'm more of a
garbage
monthly.
out.
I'm more of a monthly guy, and not to say that I wouldn't check it on a daily basis, but when I'm doing a recap, hey, what did we do for the last month, right?
Right.
And really like, okay, and then how can we adjust, moving into this month? One thing with that, and I think as agents are maybe they hit their first audition, right? And maybe the first audition wasn't the best, right? Guess
Is
what?
the first audition ever the best?
For that guy, it was. That's no, obviously not in our
Not for
industry.
me.
Yeah, but guess what? You can have multiple auditions.
Yes, you can.
Right. And say that guy doesn't kill it. Right. And we've all seen like horrible episodes on those shows, right? Where they like, oh man, they hit that one really rough note and then like they don't make it. Well, they can go back, work on that skill set on whatever they need to get better at. Right. Maybe they hire a coach to help them hit certain notes or whatever it is. Right. And we obviously know what we're going or where we're going with this now. But then guess what? You can go back and audition again.
Yes.
Right. And then, hey, maybe you almost had it, but you didn't. Guess what? You can go back, get better, right? And again, that's self-investment. I was on a call with Andy Elliot last night, dude. He goes, dude, that is the differentiating factor of the top 1%, man. It's like the top 1%, they invest in themselves so freaking heavily that it's like when you're looking at the numbers, right? It's crazy how much you can change.
Self-belief.
Right.
It took Ali Salah 6 times to pass the license test. His son just won Ultimate Agent.
Yeah.
They do pretty well. He could have given up on the 3rd try.
Right.
And none of that effect would have happened in his family now. Yep. He'd be doing something else. He'd probably be slinging shampoo in a multi-level marketing scheme or something.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ollie's slinging shampoo of all products. That's pretty freaking good. I love you, Ollie.
Yeah, he could. He could. Absolutely.
No, so but another thing I got from this. So they get to the end of it, right?
Yeah.
And the guy gets the golden buzzer. And I think in life, I wrote this down, is that sometimes you get the golden buzzer when you thought they were all gone. Right. And to me, I look at that in multiple different ways. Maybe it's that last call of the day. Maybe it's a 6 o'clock sales call, right? Where you think, nobody wants to freaking buy insurance right now. And then it's like, holy shit, I just sold the largest account I've ever sold, right? That are working on the weekends, right? Or getting in, all those things, right? But I think, and it goes back to that minor, right? Where, man, you might be this freaking close to your gold, and then you turn away. You stop digging, right? You don't come back for another audition or whatever that is. And then it's like, it's right there. And then ultimately what happens is somebody else will come and get it. Somebody else will come get that golden buzzer.
Somebody else will always come and get it eventually. And I believe this is true with ideas. And this is why immediate execution of ideas is so important. Because if you come up with an idea in your brain, and maybe it is completely original, nobody's thought of it yet, and you don't execute on it, I firmly believe that idea was originated in the ether. Maybe you were part of the origination of that idea, the birth of it. But now that it's been thought in your brain, it is now out in the consciousness and in the ether. And if you're not the one that executes on it, somebody else is going to pick it up. They're going to think of the same thing, and they're going to be the one that executes on it. I've seen this. I think we've all seen this time and time again. We're like, man, so-and-so, they were first to get that product out, but we had thought about that before, or whatever the case may be. So when you come up with an original concept that you should put to market or put into play, execute on it, man. Time delays of execution can definitely cost you opportunity. And that leads me to something I wrote down early when you talked about taking your opportunity. And it reminds me of my favorite quote from Sun Tzu, which is opportunities multiply as opportunities are seized. I don't have my glasses on, so I had to go by memory on that. It took me a second. But yes, opportunities multiply as opportunities are seized. So when you get an opportunity, when you come up with a concept or you come up with a vision of something you should execute on it. Time kills all deals, as one of our friends, Cody Askin, says, and that is another example. Someone else will steal your idea and put it out in the marketplace. Guaranteed.
Right. It kind of made me think which one, Victor, we actually do have a Jordan. I've got it's like a real print photo. Victor put it in the comments. You need something Jordan over there. It's like,
okay.
we have that. We're going to get it
right
up there.
Here.
Yep.
Understood.
But that kind of makes me, it leads me to what Andy Elliot was saying last night, and kind of even just this whole audition thing and the mindset and people, really getting theirs.
Mm-hmm.
He says, good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. Strong people create good times.
100.
Right. And it's just like, shit, like that's freaking spot
We're living
on.
that right now.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I guess you're always living some arc of that, but I would say we're definitely in the weak men create hard times section. Mason Van Meter would be good if we could bring him on, chime him in right there. He would have something to say. So we'll just leave that with that.
So my last couple points on this, y'all. And I hope again you guys are taking away kind of these lessons that I saw, and even just like a 5-minute freaking Britain's Got Talent audition, right? Is like I took so much of this stuff away. And all it takes is one audition to change your life. Not to say that it's going to take one audition to change your life.
Right.
But all it takes is one to change your freaking life.
What is that called, Joe?
What's it called?
Called breakthrough.
Breakthrough. Okay.
To find your breakthrough, man. It only takes one shot to get your breakthrough.
Yes.
Eminem wrote a song about it. I don't know all the lyrics, or I'll quote them for you, but there's a whole song written about it. People have talked about it time and time again. It may not take one shot. I like the way you said that. It may not take one shot, but it only does take one shot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Sun Tzu fills it out for us, right? Opportunities multiply as they are seized. So you got to take it. You got to take it, man.
Yep.
I agree with you 100%. And that guy wins his golden buzzer. What do you think he does now? A little speculation. See where you're at with this.
What does he do now? I mean, isn't that the real question? You had your little flash in the pan, or is it a flash in the pan? Right?
Hopefully not.
And what's cool about the when they do the what do you call it? Not the recap, or basically they're resharing the video, right? Obviously, this was in the past, that audition was.
Yes.
Probably 6-8 months ago, something like that. When they're going back through that, like in the edited version, when they're releasing it out, you actually, the background music when they're talking about the people, if they've made it, is them.
Okay.
So
right.
he must have had a single or some type of label or something went out there where I think he's still finding success. But that is the ultimate question. All right, you got your golden buzzer.
Now what are you going to do with it?
Now are you extremely complacent? And now I don't have to work as hard as I did.
No.
That's a tough one.
I'm having trouble with my headphones.
Are you
this is a whole new setup.
Are you working? Here's a question for you. I like this. This is getting like real podcasty. This is what I'm talking about. Do you work as hard as you do now than you did when you first started? Like, think about when you first started. Not your door knocking days, or not sales, but like in insurance. Are you working as hard as
I was door knocking when I first started in insurance? So physically harder? No, absolutely not, because I don't knock on doors, but still put in the time.
Yeah.
Right. You're still putting in the hours. No, you can always question yourself about your productivity through what your tasks are actually doing. Are you just busy, or are you productive? Those are two different things. Like, just being busy for 8 to 10 hours a day doesn't necessarily mean you're growing your business. You're just busy.
What John Wetmore talks about.
It's easy to get caught up in that. And I'm definitely guilty of that. I've struggled with that from time to time, where I find that I'm doing something, and I am doing something in my business, or in some cases just on my business, but this isn't priority, and it's not something I should be doing right now. And then you got to learn, like, okay, got to focus on something that's actually driving the needle, and learn to spend your time. Batching time is what always helped me. And I'll get to that in a second. And it's something I had to relearn when I left PSM and started working in my own business with Avila and my wife full time. Like, I had to learn a new set of responsibilities. Not really learn a new set of responsibilities. I had to learn when I should be doing what responsibilities. So I had to kind of redevelop my calendar and relearn how to batch my time, and still kind of going through that process. But batching time helps you not only identify and specifically set aside time when you need to be doing certain tasks that are productive, that are going to move the needle forward, they're going to put more money in your pocket, get more content out, whatever it might be. But you can increase the efficiency at which you're completing each individual task because you're doing it over and over and over and over. That's why a lot of podcasters that are really good at this shit, they batch a lot of their content, and they will shoot a bunch of videos at once, get it all done, get it all lights out. They got everything set up, might as well take advantage of the time. And then they just release, obviously, a bunch of their stuff, right? We're going to get to that level. Just watch. But, and if you're making sales calls, same concept. If you're making the same basic script over and over and over, trying to drum up prospects, so maybe you have a trucking list or a Medicare supplement list that you're cold calling, whatever it might be, then you're going to be able to complete each one of those calls not only more efficiently, but better, because your continuance of doing the same thing over and over and over, you're going to start being on your A game a lot faster. So now every time you do make a prospecting call, not only are you doing it quicker in a better time period, but you're doing it at a higher rate of skill. So you're maximizing your skill set and your time, which is a way to condense a bunch of activity, get it done.
And why do you do that though? Right? It goes back to one of our steps for the 8 daily steps of success, but it's what Andy Elliot was talking about last night. And I think it's directly related to it. What do you really want and why do you really want it? When you know what that is, probably makes it a little bit easier to not be busy, right? Or to batch your time, or to time management just in general.
Yeah.
Hell, when it just comes to running your day and working your territory correctly, right? As we talked about here at Syndicate HQ is, well, why? And then it's like, okay, and I want all y'all watching this, like, what do you really want and why do you want it? And then now, how can insurance help you get there? And because we all know it's the best vehicle to help you get anywhere, right? We produce the most millionaires out of any other industry. The numbers don't freaking lie. We just have the highest fail rate, right? And it's a lot of it I'm seeing, man, hell, we got a lot of hard workers these days, but they have no vision, man. They don't really know why they're
hard workers.
Well, but some of it is, man. It's like I'll see people, they're fucking 1,000 phone calls, man, and they're still broke. And it's like, because I don't think they really know why. Or what
they're making 1,000 phone calls.
Well, yeah, that might be extreme, but you get my point, right? I think there are some people that are very diligent, but that are just not finding that success. And I think it's because they don't know what they really want or why they
the wrong direction. Diligent, right. If you can't be diligent at screwing in screws if all you have is a hammer.
Yeah. Right.
You have to have the right tool set too, and then be pointed in the right direction. So again, that goes back to being busy or productive.
Yeah.
Are you just being busy? Are you just swinging a hammer in the wrong direction and no screws are actually getting in the board or not? But you mentioned it in regards to knowing where you're going, right? So if you're going to reach your debt, like if you get into and people have heard this analogy, but you get into a car, and if you're driving nowadays, especially if you're driving somewhere you've never been, the first thing you do is you plug it in your GPS, whether it's on your phone or in your nav, whatever, right? Because you want to get to where you're going. Like if you have restaurant reservations at 7 at some restaurant you've never been to, you're punching in because you're driving right there to make sure you get there at 7. You know your destination and you create the roadmap to get there. Pretty simple. And you know where you're going. Why aren't you doing that in your life?
Yeah.
Why don't you know where you're going? Why don't you have the roadmap developed to reach your destination?
Yep. That's good.
Puzzles me. And I was actually asked about this yesterday. I was talking to Dallas Keithley. A lot of us know Dallas out there, works Secure Agent Marketing.
Great show with him.
Secure Insurance Group.
Yep.
Pardon me. But and he was on the show recently. I'm actually coming up on one of his podcasts here pretty soon. I think Grace and I both. But he was asking us about Avila a little bit and kind of where we've had some of our early success. And I told him, I was like, we knew right out of the gate where our destination was. We knew 100% what we wanted to do. As we were launching that business, we didn't just go, well, I guess we'll start selling insurance to Spanish speakers. I don't know. The hell with it. We got nothing better to do.
Right.
That wasn't it. Grace was like, hey, look, I want to get involved. And I was like, well, I don't know what level you want to get involved. We talked about it. We game planned. And as I trained her through getting her own license and getting AHIP certified and everything ready to go for Medicare, I continually asked her about her vision for what she wanted to do. Do you want is this just side job, like a side hustle to make some purse money and stuff that you want to be able to do your own stuff with and travel and whatever to replace your income that you lost at COVID? Is that kind of all it is? Like, I don't care. I just want to know, like, that way I can help you and guide you in the right direction. I don't want to be guiding you to build a massive brand if you're just looking, to have some independence and work, 30 hours a week and go travel, go see your family in Colombia more. Either one is a correct answer. Just give me the correct answer for your vision.
Right.
And we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. And she had a massive vision for what she wanted to do, because she realized pretty quickly that she could affect change for her family in Colombia, because insurance provides that type of opportunity. Yep. And that's one of the, I call it advantages and disadvantages. It's one of the advantages that Grace had getting out of the gate, because being married to me, not that she's that lucky, but she's lucky because she got to exposed to major success in insurance. That's all she saw.
Right.
She didn't see people that were non-producers. Like, everywhere she looked, she saw Cody Askins, Justin Brock, Joe Kampert, and Redwood, and John Wetmore. And like, all she saw was absolute killers in the industry. So she comes like, huge. So what? You get licensed and you're just a millionaire? Is that kind of how this works? I'm like, there's a little more work involved than that. But when we had that conversation, she's like, I want to do something big. I want to be able to help my family. And I'm like, well, let's go. Here's what we got to do. So we knew where we wanted to go, and now we're doing it.
I think in order to do that, this is again something going back on some of my notes that I took from Andy's call last night. Are you immersed in your craft? Right. I even go back to that, the guy John's audition. Right. Like when he was practicing that song, right, or whatever. Was he like fucking cooking breakfast too? It's like,
was he always?
Yeah. It's like, no, it's like,
I
am immersed in what I'm doing. Right.
Eat, sleep, breathe.
Right.
Bathe. Like, it's constantly on your brain. You have to be obsessed in your business if you really want massive growth.
Full immersion.
That's what we're talking about here.
Full immersion equals success.
Yeah.
I know it's cliche, and honestly, people give me crap about it all the time, but like, dude, I talk about insurance a lot because I am freaking, that's me. And I know, again, that's like, not to say that I don't take time away from insurance, right?
No, 100%. I won about 15 medals in martial arts, and for 10 years, I was absolutely obsessed with it constantly. One of our sayings at our school was, if you don't have time to practice all the time. And it's like, what? I don't have time to practice. Yeah, so practice all the time. And that basically meant, like, you always have a time to think about and practice and be diligent in your martial arts if you're really immersed in the training and you've made it your own. Right. So same thing for your business. Like, do you eat, sleep, and breathe your business? Have you made it your own? That word is called proprioception. It's more, my understanding of it, the definition of it is more to do with a kinetic or kinesis concept throughout your body, right? And which is why it really is applicable in the martial arts setting, because once you make the movements, the style, the forms, the techniques your own, and you've internalized them, you've immersed yourself in them, then you can express them in your own art, language, etc. Same thing in your business. Are you immersed in your business so that your business can become an expression of yourself? And I believe that's something, not just to boast a little bit, that we do pretty damn good at Avila.
Hell yeah. I love it. Well,
you have too, although you guys kind of got lucky because y'all were already tall and redheaded. Just named it Redwood, like immersion Redwood.
Yeah, right. Literally. And both my daughters are going to be like freaking 6'2", so it's just going to just keep going down.
Yes.
Right. The family tree.
Like, that's how you create 100-year
Redwood
family. We just
the family tree.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Just created like the Redwoods.
I got a few other notes. Go ahead and write this down, guys. If you guys are taking notes, you should be taking notes. All right. I shouldn't have to remind you to take notes. Hopefully we're not just
You're
rambling.
assuming we have anything valuable.
Yeah, I was like, hopefully we're not just rambling and been doing this show for like 2.5 years with no value.
How long has it been? Has it been 3 hours yet?
Yeah. Right. Oh shit. No, but Andy had us write these down. Was mind, body, emotion, and action. Mind, body, emotion, and action. When you have all those 4 things in check, like, nothing is impossible, right? And he kind of, I won't break down all of that, but just those 4 words, like, really, really, well, one, he's like, write these down, write them down. I'm like, hell yeah. But they really stuck out to me because I think they're, also I have this, okay, this is a squirrel moment, but I got to ask you, is it applicable or applicable?
I think both are correct. I usually say applicable.
But
I also think
applicable is
it's
harder to
how
say.
the sentence is structured. I think depending on how the sentence is structured, it may be applicable or applicable.
Oh, applicable. Got
Right.
it. It's applicable there.
Right.
Or is it applicable? I'm kidding. I had to ask.
There you go.
But again, mind, body, emotion, and action, y'all. Write that down. And then he was talking about the seasons and timing. That in this industry, specifically in this industry, we have seasons, right? In cycles. We were talking about it. Your cause and effect, right? And knowing that we have cycles that we go through. So he worded it as seasons, which basically is timing. It's our timing, right? And he goes, sometimes it's maybe it's the right thing in the wrong time, right? Or vice versa. Or it's the wrong thing and the right time. And you're like, damn it, right?
Now, how do you identify that, though? How do you identify that, hey, I'm doing the right thing, it's just not the right time? Are we now in the simplest area? You could say, oh, it's if I'm getting an objection from a client or a prospect, maybe it's not necessarily no, it's just not right now. But I don't know that Andy Elliott's talking in that specific respect. Like,
it's more of the sub point from that, because he's talking about seasons, right?
Okay.
And really is talking about harvest and like farming and stuff like that was kind of where he was going. And it's funny. He goes, it's always springtime. Plant your shit. He goes, yeah, there are seasons, but it's always springtime, baby. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. It's like, but I think, being able to, and that's, I don't know. I guess that's kind of where it would be difficult for me to break that down.
Because it's always springtime? That's easy.
But how do you apply that to that? The understanding that we have seasons, though. Hey, we have seasons, we have cycles in this industry, whether that's a sales cycle, whether that's OEP or AEP versus not.
Understood.
Right. Or it's the holidays versus not the holidays. We've all heard that one before.
Yes.
Right. So I get that. But at the same time, well, it's always springtime, so plant your shit. Right.
Yes. Always be planting.
Right.
ABP. Always be planting. ABP.
I like
always
that.
Be planting.
Like it.
Yes, but you should. And I've talked about this. I talk about this with just about every agent that I train that especially needs extra sales training. I'm like, dude, you can't stop planting. You can't stop prospecting. If you are growing your business, if you're in the process of growth, you can't stop prospecting ever. Right. And your prospecting methods might evolve and change, but you always have to constantly keep putting new people in your funnel because people are going to fall out of your client base for a variety of reasons. You all know this. If you've been doing this long enough and you have a book of business, right, you see people that fall off your books for whatever reason, right? It's just a fact. Again, it goes back to the law of numbers. And I talked about this earlier in regards to prospecting and as closing sales. You don't get everybody. It's just the law of math. Same thing with keeping your book. You're never going to keep 100% of it for any given period of time. So you always have to be putting people in the front end. And the goal is obviously always to put more people in the front end than fall out the back end. So good customer service, good follow-up. That works for us, helps us out. We have a 90-day retention program that helps us keep our persistency very high.
Yep. That's good. That's good. Well, I wanted to take the last couple of minutes to come back to the audition. Right.
Yes. I feel like this is our audition.
Right. It is our audition. But hey, guess what? We're going to be doing this a lot more. So we're going to get better and better and better. And then I'm sure we didn't hit a golden buzzer today. You guys should have seen us. You guys should have seen us trying to figure out these lights.
Can we make this one or this one the golden buzzer?
Don't touch anything, dude. I don't know what those do.
I don't know what they do either.
You guys can't see. We have our little roadcaster here. Yes. But going back to that audition. So the guy, he got the golden buzzer. The judges just praised him, right, and said, oh my gosh, like how amazing is this guy and this and this. But I think what was really cool about it, they didn't have any more of when you get the golden buzzer, you guys have probably seen it, the gold confetti rains down from the ceiling, and it's this whole moment.
It's breakthrough moment.
Well,
it's time to celebrate.
They didn't freaking reload it because there was no more golden buzzers. So this guy got the golden buzzer, right? And then he doesn't have the moment. But what was really
Happy
cool,
birthday, no cake, no ice cream.
What was really cool was the host of the show came out and they went and found some freaking confetti guns or something like that. And like gold confetti, right? And again, still was able to capture that moment. And what I got from that, and you may not get this from that, but for whatever reason it spoke to me this way, was that people are rooting for you more than you think. Right? Where there's these hosts of the show, right? That definitely was not part of their job, right? It was to go create this moment for this guy that just had this, took advantage, right? And seized that opportunity, had his breakthrough. And then it's like these two random guys like, hey, let's go help elevate this moment for him.
Yes.
Right? People are rooting for you more than you think.
Absolutely. Who's generally the loudest? The rooters, the people rooting for you, or the people hating on you?
Haters.
Haters seem to be the loudest.
Mhm.
And then maybe if you're not getting haters, maybe you're not working hard enough or not doing enough. But I would say haters tend to be the loudest, or maybe they're just the ones that stick out the most. But I find a lot of times people that are in your corner, people that do truly support you, they usually don't always speak up, right? You don't get that phone call that just reminds you, hey, we're rooting for you. Good job. Sometimes you get that, sometimes you don't. But a lot of times the haters are the ones that stick out and tell you, or maybe not verbally, right? And then sometimes they're hater, and haters may not even be the right word, but the people that are holding you back, people that are preventing you from moving forward, right? It may not always come across as hate, but ultimately they are maybe they're victimizing themselves inside of you. I'm not sure what it exactly is, but there are people out there that will always try to prevent you from getting your opportunity.
Yep.
Sometimes through naivety, right? They'll kill it through naivety. Like, oh, you don't want to do that insurance thing. Nobody makes any money on that. Why don't you go get a real job, right? They put it in a context of where they're making it look like they're acting in your best intentions,
right?
But they're not necessarily,
right? Because they just don't even know.
Because they don't want to take the chance themselves.
Right.
They don't have the chutzpah to do it, and they don't want to see you get away with it because they don't deserve it. Why should you deserve it? And then you take on that imposter mentality yourself and like, man, I don't deserve success either. No, the hell with that. Don't hang out with those people. I've had them in my life and I had to get rid of them.
Yep.
So yeah, you don't always know who's supporting you. But when you find them and you know they're genuine, man, you got to hang on to them.
Yeah.
Those are the people you keep around for sure.
Well, and it's kind of a last kind of point I got from Andy too. He was talking about being realistic will suppress you. He goes, you need to be unreal. He's like, look at, this shit that I got going, man. It's like, none of it's freaking realistic. It's all unrealistic, right? And he's like, sometimes people are trying to be so realistic, right? And that's probably a lot of that is the haters. They're trying to be, hey, well, realistically, I don't know if that's going to work, man. Right. And it's like, well, being realistic, like, can suppress you. Right now, obviously, in some categories in life, you need to be realistic, right? Yeah, that too. But when it comes to your goals or it comes to like what you're really, you got to think outside the box, right? If you're thinking so realistically, you're probably too comfortable and complacent.
What is realistic?
Right.
Who's to say what's real? Like, is your realistic thought the same as my realistic thought? And why am I measuring yours against my what? Like, no, I am being realistic and I'm also being optimistic.
Yeah.
Right. Realistic is just the understanding of that you can do the activity that's involved to get to where you're going. And you believe that you can exceed, right, or grow that activity or that a skill set or that ability. It's just a belief in yourself. And for someone to say that you can't believe that you can, I mean, yeah, there is a certain, I guess, realistic thing. Like you can't say, hey, I'm going to jump the moon and I believe I can do it. I'm training to jump the moon. Like I'm doing my steps and getting like, no, that doesn't work. Okay. So if somebody's coming at you from that angle, that's one thing, but I don't think anybody's out there trying to dream up goals of, that they're training to go jump the moon. But, if you're someone that wants to train for the Olympics, you want to learn to play the guitar, you want to accomplish a goal, you have something to do, man, believe in yourself. That's the most thing you can do. And if someone says you can't do it, get them out of your life.
Yep. Right. Remove that limiting belief. Remove it. I love it, man. So I'll end with this. And this again is shout out to Andy Elliot. Shout out to Danny Klein. I believe Danny's in here. He's on Team Elliot. We're trying to get him on the podcast here. I need to text him just because I know he's getting blown up right now, but we're gonna have him on soon. But just to kind of wrap up here, a courageous person dies one time. A coward dies 1,000 times. And it's just like, damn.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, whoo.
Have you ever died a coward, Joe?
Hell no.
You sure?
Absolutely.
Not at least once?
Absolutely. Oh, man, I'm not. Now, I may have died from stupidity, but it wasn't ever because I didn't have the courage. I feel like I've been very blessed with that in my life. I've never, like even yesterday, I haven't been on the phones and I can't tell you how long, bro. Let me get on the phone and freaking rope up some quotes. This is data from 2017. I don't give a shit. Let's go. Right. I don't have a script. And it just was like, let's get it. I don't think I've ever had, well, okay, I say that probably as a kid, did I have cowardly moments? But I think in this industry, I don't feel like I've never had that suppression, we'll call it, right? I don't think I've ever like been like, I can't do this type of thing.
Yeah.
Truly.
It's hard to really identify that sometimes. There have been moments where I probably held myself back from maybe certain phone calls, certain activities, because yeah, I did have some hesitancy. Like, I don't know if I can close that guy. I just won't call him. Like I've definitely had that problem from time to time, going after, if you know the prospect really, really well, and I don't mean know them really well, but you know the metrics of them really, really well. Yeah. That's a whale of an account, and you don't have the cojones to call them. I have struggled with that from time to time, and you just got to pick up the phone and call the dude, because what the worst he's going to say is no. Who cares?
I remember my first trucking account, man. I'd never, obviously I had educated myself, right, and was going after it. I think a lot of people don't get into the trucking space because the premiums scare them, because it is that kind of right.
But if you have to understand, the trucker already has to pay it.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So it's like, you know what? Guess what? Well, even if you didn't know that, I didn't know. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna call him.
Right.
Right. I'm like, I'm looking,
but is it really expensive for the trucker? Like it's a part of doing business for them.
Right. And so it's like, and I think they can hear the confidence and the courage on the phone when I call him, even though I'm like, holy shit, I had sticker shock. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to not call the guy. And I remember calling him and he goes, that's the best I found. What do you need to get going? And I was like, oh, hell yeah, man. I can do this. Right. No, not all the time. That's for damn
right.
Sure,
exactly.
But, I remember that first call, man. That was a good one.
Yeah. I've trained agents and had that happen where I'm like, all right, so we're going to make some calls. Just sit in with me. I'm going to do my deal. Pick up the phone, call them, and just slam dunk the first person. And they're like, well, this is a joke. I'm like, it almost never goes that way. I promise. Right. Call the next person, slam dunk. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Usually that's not how this works.
And then 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 3 in a row. They're like, all right, I get it. Let me go do this. And then they get their nose beat the hell up, come back with a bloody nose. And you got to help them. And I told you, I tried to warn you.
Love it, man. Love it.
So good stuff.
Yep.
Good
Appreciate
stuff,
you
man.
guys.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you all for bearing with us. We are working our way through this new scene, this new environment. And Joe and actually are both truly in here by ourselves. Our engineer is not here. He is an invisible human. We pretend that he's here, but he is not here today.
I said, what engineer, dude?
But our producer is backstage. She's been helping us out with all the stuff, all the comments. Lily, we thank you very much for being with us. Thank you so much, man. If you guys need a VA, call Viva, because Lily's kicking ass for us. Let somebody at Viva kick ass for you. And as always, we are here on Wednesday. But remember, this is just the first one. It's going to happen again. There's going to be another Wednesday. But that doesn't mean you slow down. It's the peak of the week. You got to keep pushing through to the end. And we'll definitely see you on the flip side next time on Winning on Wednesday. Right. Thank y'all.
And all it takes is one audition to change your life. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Later.